The emergency alert shattered the tranquility of Harmony Station, its pulsing crimson lights reflecting off the crystalline architecture of the command center. Overseer Nalith Vex straightened all four of her appendages in alarm as the automated voice echoed through the chamber. Warning, human warship approaching. Classification, Dreadnought class vessel. Estimated arrival, 17 orbital segments. The gathered representatives of the Seven Worlds Concordat froze in various postures of shock. Humans were supposed to be a myth, a cautionary tale told to juvenile members of civilized species, not an actual threat approaching their peaceful outpost at the edge of the Andromeda spiral. "There must be an error," said Representative Zolon of the Phyrexian Unity, his luminous tendrils dimming with anxiety. Humans were quarantined by the Ancient Ones. Their system was sealed behind a dimensional barrier 3,000 cycles ago. Nalith Vex gestured toward the quantum projection in the center of the chamber. Sensor readings confirm vessel configuration and biological signatures. The barrier has failed. They have escaped. The room erupted into panicked discussions. The Seven Worlds Concordat had enjoyed peace for millennia, their defensive capabilities limited to basic shielding and minimal point defense systems. Harmony Station itself was a testament to their belief in diplomatic solutions, a marvel of artistic engineering rather than a fortress. "We must enact emergency evacuation protocols," insisted Representative Tallow of the Silicon Consciousness, her crystalline form vibrating with alarm. The historical archives describe humans as apex predators from a high-gravity death world, evolved to hunt and kill with relentless efficiency. "They developed nuclear weapons before achieving unity," added Zolon. "Their historical records show they annihilated entire cities of their own species during territorial disputes." Security Director Kraz Tor, a veteran of the rare border skirmishes that occasionally troubled the Concordat, raised his armored claw for attention. "Evacuation is impossible, given the time frame. But we have options. The station's diplomatic shuttle was recently upgraded with fold-space engines. I recommend we send a delegation to establish communication before they reach weapons range. Approach a human warship voluntarily." Tallow's crystalline structure pulsed with what appeared to be the silicon equivalent of incredulous laughter. The archives described them as irrationally aggressive, with dominance hierarchies enforced through physical combat. Nalith Vex studied the approaching vessel's specifications, noting its massive weapons arrays and hull composition capable of withstanding concentrated plasma fire. The humans had clearly not spent their isolation developing art or philosophy. Director Kraz Tor's suggestion may be our only viable option. She finally declared, "I will lead the delegation myself." Despite vehement objections, Nalith Vex assembled a small team, including Kraz Tor and 2 specialists in xenobiology and linguistic reconstruction. The diplomatic shuttle departed Harmony Station 14 orbital segments later, its fold-space engines allowing it to intercept the human vessel well before it reached the station. As they approached, the true scale of the human warship became apparent. Named the TDF Resolute, according to transponder signals, it stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, its angular design prioritizing function over aesthetics. Weapon emplacements studied its hull like predatory eyes, and its propulsion system emitted radiation patterns unlike anything in Concordat databases. "They're scanning us," reported the pilot, antennae twitching nervously. "Multiple targeting systems have locked onto our position." Nalith Vex suppressed her instinctive fear response. "Open communications on all standard frequencies. Include the first contact initialization packet the linguists prepared." Moments later, the shuttle's communication array chimed with an incoming transmission. The view screen activated to reveal a bipedal creature with peculiar flat features and patches of keratin filaments on parts of its head. It wore a uniform adorned with geometric symbols that likely denoted rank or function. "This is Captain Eleanor Chen of the Terran Defense Force vessel Resolute," the creature said, its translator rendering the harsh sounds of human speech into standard Concordat language. "Identify yourselves and state your intentions." Nalith Vex performed the formal greeting gesture of her species, though she doubted the human would recognize its significance. "I am Overseer Nalith Vex of the Seven Worlds Concordat, Administrator of Harmony Station. We approach in peace to understand your presence in our territory." The human's expression changed subtly, a narrowing of its visual organs that the xenobiologist suggested indicated suspicion or concentration. "We are on a diplomatic mission to re-establish contact with neighboring civilizations following the collapse of the dimensional barrier around Sol System. Our records indicated a neutral outpost in this sector." Diplomatic? Krastor couldn't restrain his surprise. "You approach in a warship." Something happened to the human's face, then a bearing of bone-white dentition that sent instinctive shivers through the Concordat delegation. The xenobiologists frantically consulted their datapads. "Not aggressive," one whispered urgently. "It's a smile, a human expression of friendliness or amusement." "The Resolute is our diplomatic vessel," Captain Chen explained, seemingly unaware of the terror her expression had caused. "After the Scourge Wars, we realized other species might be cautious when meeting humans for the first time. We come prepared for all contingencies, but our mission is peaceful exchange." Nalith Vex studied the human captain carefully. The archives describe humans as inherently aggressive. The human made a curious sound, a rhythmic expulsion of air that the translator didn't process. "Not inherently, no. Adaptable, certainly. And yes, protective when threatened. The dimensional barrier wasn't created to contain us, Overseer. It was created by our ancestors to protect Earth during the Scourge incursion 3,000 years ago." This contradicted everything in the Concordat archives. "You claim the Ancient Ones didn't imprison humanity." "The Ancient Ones, as you call them, were our allies. When the Scourge threatened to overwhelm this galactic sector, they helped us create a dimensional pocket where Earth could remain safe until the threat passed." Captain Chen's expression became solemn. "We've since learned that many civilizations were lost during that time, and historical records became distorted. We're here to reconnect and rebuild those relationships." 2 days later, as the massive human vessel moved into standard orbit around Harmony Station, causing considerable anxiety among the station's inhabitants, Nalith Vex addressed the assembled representatives of the Concordata. "Our initial assessment of human intentions was flawed," she admitted. "While their evolutionary history on a high-gravity world has indeed made them physically formidable, and their technological development has focused significantly on defensive capabilities, they are not the mindless aggressors described in our historical archives." She gestured toward Captain Chen, who stood uncomfortably in the low gravity of the Concordat chamber. "The humans come seeking knowledge exchange, particularly regarding cultural and artistic developments during their isolation. Their warship approaches not as a threat, but as a precaution in a galaxy they no longer recognize." The human stepped forward, and despite her imposing physical presence and the deadly efficiency of her species design, her voice carried something the Concordat representatives recognized across the vast taxonomic divide. "Hope. We have much to learn from each other," Captain Chen said. "And perhaps, together, we can separate truth from myth." The warning that had thrown Harmony Station into panic, human warship approaching, would eventually become a footnote in a new chapter of galactic history, one where humanity's reputation for bringing warships to diplomatic missions became a curiosity rather than a terror.